one of the millions of Aussies relying on ultra-cheap online shopping websites for an affordable dose of retail therapy, you're probably being tricked in ways you don't even realise. Not only are there sneaky mind games being used on you, but the real cost of your bargain is a lot more than you might think.
Let's do an Amazon unboxing.
Our Temu packages have arrived.
$400 Shein haul. I need prayers yesterday. This is not okay.
They're the sites where you can buy everything for nothing.
The most affordable haul you'll ever see.
I literally found products that cost pennies.
Catch.com.au set to close down in the next few months, citing intensifying pressure from competitors like Amazon, Shein and Temu. The online giants with exceptionally short production cycles, almost unbelievably low prices and constantly revolving trends.
I like Temu. I think it's the cheapest.
Cheap price, yeah, and not having to actually get in my car and go shopping. My kids buy everything that they scroll. They go, oh, I need that, I need that, I need that.
They give the impression in the short term that you're saving money, but actually what they do is that they feed into the psychology of, I guess, that rush of buying things.
And they well and truly have Aussie shoppers in a chokehold. Temu now holds a fifth of the Australian retail market. Almost 4 million of us have made at least one purchase in the last year, while at least 2 million bought something from fast fashion juggernaut Shein. And staggeringly, almost 8 mil from Amazon.
I'm ashamed to say, but I scroll every day.
Things for a party, for house decor, stuff like that.
Harvey Norman retail mogul Gerry Harvey last week calling for a government inquiry into ultra-cheap Chinese retailers, claiming they dodge taxes and kill off local businesses. And while there have been grave concerns about product quality,
a Queensland girl has sustained significant burns after a jumper purchased from online retailer Temu ignited.
The heavy cost to the environment and problematic labour practices employed by these companies, that knowledge doesn't seem to be affecting our spending habits.
I'm obsessed. The reason why people don't take into consideration all of those things is because they're abstract. We trade off the idea of something for what we can get right now.
Actually, I heard about that, but I just ignore it.
It doesn't change my mind. I feel sorry for them, but it's not real to me.
Nina Gbor is the Director of the Circular Economy and Waste Program at the Australia Institute. Nina, what are some of the worst things we've seen in the products from these places?
It ranges. So you have things like, poor quality clothing, the fabric and material is so poor quality, all the way through to people finding interesting things in their packages, such as live scorpions, blood vials. Someone found a tin of Mexican beans that was dented, and even things like, clothes that, well, for want of a better term, rotten. So they're very moldy and dirty, which is interesting. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, Mexican beans is probably a bonus, but the rest of that I'm not into.
So I'll take a can of Mexican beans. Sure.
Probably. And look, I've never tried scorpion. I will not judge it prematurely.
Beautiful.
But if this stuff is happening, why do we just put all that aside and keep buying?
Well, it's cheap. It's very, very cheap. And the thing about, platforms, brands like Shein and Temu and the like, is that the clothes are based on fashion trends, right? And then you have influencers on social media who do things like hauls, where they show the stuff that they bought, and for the cheap amount of money they buy it, and encourages other people to buy. Not to mention cost of living crisis, which is unfortunately now a global issue. And, if it doesn't get repaired in our various countries, I think that people will continue to buy from these platforms and, risk, receiving scorpions in our packages.
Yeah, and you know what? The apps they've gamified as well. You can actually spin a wheel and get a discount. Don't judge me, Nina, but I have chipped in for that. You've actually been calling for Australia to adopt France's fast fashion tax. What is that and how would it work here?
So the lower house in France last year, almost a year ago, proposed to add about €10 to each fast fashion product. And it's to deter people from buying fast fashion. It's also to protect the environment and also to protect brands from going bankrupt, French brands, and in our case it would be Australian brands from going bankrupt. I mean, last year it was reported that Shein and Temu, for instance, were set to make about $2.3 billion in sales in Australia alone. And it's good for them, but it's really sad that, you know, at the same time we have Australian businesses that are being forced to shut down.
Nina, if we could just judge Sarah Harris for a moment here and other people who've used these types of sites.
Low prices.
Constructive criticism, because in all seriousness, it is really, really hard to avoid fast fashion now, especially in our lives, now the gamification of it as well. What would you recommend shoppers do instead?
So first of all, we try not to judge shoppers. We do our best not to. What I recommend is looking for secondhand first. Running clothes swaps is a very good option. Other things people can do is invest in sustainable and ethical clothing. Sell clothes that you have, get that money back that you spent, and consider making your own clothes if you have the talent and skills. I don't, but I encourage it whenever people can do that.
But in fact, Sam knitted his polo that
I did, yeah.
It's taken him all year.
I got all these cuts from the sewing machine.
Yeah, and then we had to send it to someone else to fix.
Yeah.
Hey, Nina, it's all really good advice. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me again.